dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Whoops, hold on a minute. Let me just get out of the way and say to you, hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. That's a good meme to start the day with. So many good ones around at the moment. Katia Lima nearly came in with a replacement for that this morning. Gen X, the only generation that became 30 at 50 and is still 30 at 50. I believe that says underneath the ticker tape there, which says try something Portuguese today, which will be, folks, live on the show today. Couto, pasta dentifrica. This is Couto toothpaste, a Portuguese tradition, institution, and I shall be trying that live on air. I tried tremoso beans the other day, and I realized whilst I was trying to eat them and talk to you, that was not only rude, but quite difficult. So Mrs. M will be here to facilitate the toothpaste tasting. Old timers here who were with us right back at the beginning when we were broadcasting from our home in Korea, before we had the Korea move, as it were. Oh, yes. Good start to the day. Before we moved from Anadia, Korea, where that wine got spilt, from Korea to Anadia, they're from Anadia to Fanadia. Yeah, when we still lived up there in the Bairrada region, Mrs. M used to make her own toothpaste, which is occasionally nice to find by the side of the basin, but not as convenient as squeezing it from a tube. Who doesn't like to squeeze it from a tube first thing in the morning? I know I do, rather than mess about with a jar of home concocted compounds and so on. Although, if you make it yourself, you know what's in it. I don't know if anyone knows. It's interesting, isn't it? People don't really know what's in their toothpaste, do they? They take it on trust that there are only good things in there. We will be trying this Couto toothpaste, which I believe is, for those of you who like to avoid fluoride, I believe this is one of those fluoride free toothpaste, although it does have paraffin in it by the look of it. I'll get Mrs. M to have a look at those ingredients because I'm going to need glasses soon. I think I've been putting it off long enough. Okay. That's today's Try Something Portuguese Couto toothpaste. And I think Banana Slug already uses that brand and swears by it, not literally. We've got a great weather forecast for you from Katia Lima, funny enough. We've got donuts for you. Look, actually, no, I'll come back to that picture a little bit later on. But it looks like the way to a lady's heart is via a big box of Bolos de Berlin. Come back to that a little bit later on. Got some photos of my naked body to show you as well. Yeah, that can be done during the... All right, Cortu, isn't that what I said? Oh, my God, you know what happened. Thank you for your help, James. Good morning to you, to Suze, to Coach Turner with the God's Call Tip of the Day, to Deagle, who sounds like he's getting his value from the NHS. Blimey, Deagle, what's happening to you, mate? Great effort with the Portuguese lessons. Lovely picture of the classroom where you've begun your Portuguese language career. I did download it to share with everybody, but doesn't seem to be there now. Let me just have one more check in the picture deck to see if I can find that. No, I can't. Great picture, though, of what you were looking at as you began your Portuguese language career. I need to put that on the screen because it's great. See, I already did it. That means I've already downloaded it, but I just couldn't find it when I went to pop it up onto the screen here. Where are you? Deagle's image of him learning. Is it because they're filed under date order, I wonder? Anyway, you needn't answer that question or worry your pretty little head about that. Oh, there it is. Earlier this week. I already downloaded it some time ago. If you do GCSE Portuguese in Belfast, certainly, and this is probably a standard course, isn't it, around the His Majesty's United Kingdom, or anywhere where there's the a GCSE exam board that offers Portuguese. There you go. That's one of the introductory screens there for the materials. Curso de Português there in Belfast at 5 to 7. Does it start at 7? Is that what they left on the screen for you? That does look like an an educational institution, doesn't it? Of breeze block, false ceiling, and surface-mounted pipes, conduits, and trunking, with a big teaching screen and a clock that sometimes, it has to be said, students stare at, wondering why, if it's broken, if it stops completely. I'm sure it said that time 20 minutes ago. Ah, oh, God. That's horrible. I don't want to be taken back to those sort of memories. But thank you, Deagle. Thank you very much. Slugs in, Deagle. T-Duck having a well-earned rest this week. Coach T. Suze is in as well. Which Facebook user? Should we guess? Who is this? A Facebook user with a bon dia. Gratefully received, but we don't know who you are. And I think you've got to go into the settings on Facebook and give them, because Facebook are very, very careful with people's data. They don't want you. They don't want you giving away your identity if you don't want to. You know, they take it very seriously, don't they, Facebook? And there's some horrible what have we got? The Online Safety Act is going into the Lords, is it not? It's what is it? It's what's happened here? It's gone from, where's it gone? Okay, Justin. This and Biff. Yeah, I'll disclose my source so that people can say, well, what do you expect from Epoch Times, GB News, Daily Mail, or Disclosed TV? You right-wing meme basher. Justin, UK's online safety bill for a safer internet has passed its final parliamentary debate and will soon become law. Okay, I mean, that's pretty inoffensive, isn't it? I think that's just a reporting of the facts. Let's see. It was Gareth Ike, David's son, whose tweet I am reading, and that's just enough to completely discredit it, isn't it, in the mind of any sensible person. Or brainwashed? No! Val Moreno House, bon dia. How are you doing? Can we have a name for you as well? Lovely to see you here. But is that someone we know who is now has a Facebook page of Val Moreno House? I think over there in Yalantejo. Antonio F is in. We'll get to the bottom of Muggate. What happened with Antonio is he leveled up over at GMP VIP. We have our own social network, which is all part of what you get if you're a supporter of the Good Morning Portugal endeavor, the good ship. And if you support us, you get the access to the resources over at gmpvip.com. Now, Antonio has been amazing and popping up a Portuguese saying of the day as an honorary member for sure. You know, a Hall of Fame of Portuguese friends over at GMP VIP. And when you take part, you get points and you level up. It's what young people might do on social media. Bit confusing for some of us oldies, eh? But what happened anyway? Whether or not you take part in it, if you in leveling up and getting extra points through contribution. But Antonio got himself to level 4, everybody. And on that basis, earned himself a Be Portuguese about it. Well, he can't help but be Portuguese about it, can he? On the account of being Portuguese. Got himself one of these, bagged himself one of these mugs by getting up to level 4 through contribution. It's gamified, our GMP VIP platform. So if you want to join us over there and level yourself up to level 4, it didn't take that much effort, did it, Antonio F? To get yourself a mug, although thanks to DHL and some shoddy data input, he hasn't actually got his mug in his hand yet. It's hanging about for him in a depot somewhere near Sintra, I believe. So good luck finding that. We will get to the bottom of Mudgate, as I say there, Antonio. And thank you for all your contributions to GMP VIP, not least your Portuguese saying of the day. Thank you so much for being our Portuguese pal over there. And you deserve so much more than a mere mug. But let's start with that, shall we? Okay, had a chat with Philomena late last night. The Chistenberau tour is fully booked. You can join us, but only by car now. It's fully booked. Isn't that great to know? There we go. Get the schist was how we first advertised it. Sorry, I made myself laugh and then cough because I just saw the cup from which you might drink the Holy Beryl, bottom right of your screen. And there it is. Just to make it a little bit clearer, Sold. Good health, because we'll be going to the Benar factory as well as a couple of schist villages on October the 6th. Friday. That is Friday, isn't it? October the 6th. Pick up in Caldas de Rainha on the tour bus. Isn't that going to be great fun? Over to meet Filomena at Miranda de Corvo, and then off to the schist villages, the Benar factory, and a slap-up lunch. Woohoo! Looking forward to that. I'm a little bit concerned already about how many calories that's going to be. I never thought this would happen to me, counting calories, but there seem to be results. Come back to that, and a few more tour. We're busy. We're in Aveiro this weekend. We're going to go to the beer festival the weekend after, and then we're off there, as you can see, on Friday the 6th of October to the schist villages in the Benar factory. Tomar, mid-October. San Martino de Porto, beginning of November. It's all looking like a lot of fun hanging out with Gumpers. And Antonio, good on you, mate. Really, really appreciate you. Happy to be of help, Carl. To all of Good Morning Portugal there. Fabulous. Okay, let's go back to the start of the chat and see how everyone's doing this morning. Deagle was in early doors, 7:18. Woohoo! Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers. It stopped raining and got very warm in the wind. Actually, 16. I'm always suspicious of warm wind. 16 degrees at present in Belfast at around 7 a.m. this morning. A morning all. Cheers, Deagle. Morning all from Coach Turner. It's hump day today, so downhill to the weekend. Oh, flu jab yesterday morning. Knocked him sideways a bit. Seemed to be okay today, though. Ash Melioris, get well soon, mate. That's you're recovering from the jab that's stopping you getting ill. Okay, I seem to be okay today, though. My arm is still sore. Off to coffee. That will teach you a lesson, won't it? God squad tip of the day, then. Just a clarification of yesterday's tip. While I'm a great believer in sprinting, it's the maximum effort that is the important element of interval training. Okay, pushing yourself. It could be swimming, cycling, or being a whirling dervish around the kitchen. That sounds really dangerous, doesn't it? The most dangerous place in the house, and quite a dangerous activity to boot. Please don't try that at home. But he's just making a point of, well, not extreme, but what was it? Was the word you used extreme there? Maximum effort. Push yourself to maximum and then rest. 10 to 20 seconds of that to maximum effort, and then allow your breathing to recover before the next effort. Research has shown that the impact of these short bursts of exercise on the metabolism lasts for much longer than a slow and steady jog or walk. This helps burn fat and maintain health long term. So there's a lot in the fartlek. Absolutely. Now, may I share my results with you of the fitness regime of which I am currently a part? The 50 plus shape shift seems like a good moment to do that. And my photographer's here who takes pictures of me. I'm not showing you all the pictures that she takes of me on my Sunday weigh-in, because that would be wrong. In the semi-naked state that I find myself, I'll say this much. I provide a cheeky shot at the end of the photo shoot for Mrs. M. I'm putting your microphone out. You come to join me now.
Yeah.
Do you want to be on the screen as well?
Yeah, why not?
Very demanding. Okay.
Although I have noticed that when whoever is in this jump seat, we always look like we've got a shiny face. Look, see, I've got a shiny face. You have got
the lovely.
There's something about the lighting here. I'm not entirely sure what we've done.
It is not entirely complimentary. I think it might be the the camera. Oh, hello. You want to what? You want to try a toothpaste too? Okay. Research has shown. Not yet. Come back in a minute, because we haven't. We're not doing the try something Portuguese section yet, my boy. And one day all this will be yours. Okay. What were we talking about, Mrs. M?
You were talking about your cheeky shots.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's what I wanted to share with everybody.
That's what got my attention.
I need to take the comment off the screen. And let's have a look. I'm watching my weight, says James, while we're doing that. It's going up and up and away. Oh, and I've got a fantastic weather report for you in a moment, Mrs. M. However,
fantastic.
Let's not get distracted here. This is where I began. Why are you huffing and sighing?
No, I just, there is a theme, isn't there? Like people talking. I think I heard people talking about shots a minute ago. So different types of shots. So you got photographic shots.
Yeah,
people have got flu shots.
That's right. And here are the shots. There's an ample arm or belly or
that's at the start,
isn't it? Take a shot. Yes,
that's at the start.
That's at the flipping it. Yes. What do you think? Good morning, Portugal. Yes, my boy.
Well read.
And there I am now. So what do you think, Mrs. M? What you're seeing on the screen there? Good morning, Portugal.
I think I need to water my plants a bit better.
You're meant to be looking at my body, not the plants.
Yeah, it has changed. It's like
Hasn't it? Look at that belly. It's flatter, isn't it?
Much flatter.
Man boobs still need a little bit more chiseling.
You know, you've always had man boobs.
Okay.
But the whole it's like some sorry.
Go and do your schoolwork. Go on.
Do you know what? It's like somebody's lifted the front of your body up.
Like a body lift.
Like
a facelift.
From around here, around your neck.
Yeah.
It feels like
I see that as well. Yeah.
It up.
It's very interesting looking at these before and after shots. We won't dwell on them too long, just in case anyone is having their breakfast.
Yeah.
But thank you, Henry. Thank you, Coach Turner, for your unfailing.
Well, thank you. I mean,
unceasing
I feel like I've got
support.
my husband back a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant progress, Carl. Coach approves. Yes! Woo! Wow, good job, Carl. Okay, so inspiring. Thank you, Suze, for that. I'm on a seafood diet. I seafood and
I'm on the same diet. I love that diet. It's great.
Hi, Sully. Susie saying hello to you, Sol.
Hey.
Good morning to you. You can have your own slot one of these days. Okay. And I love my espresso. Even brought PT coffee with me. New Portuguese machine wouldn't fit in luggage. Not worth paying excess baggage. Okay. All right. Well done, man, says James as well. Who knows a bit about bodybuilding? Look, Sol, you're gonna have to move out of the way because we've got a toothpaste demo here. Unless you want to join us for this.
Do you want to brush your teeth? Right, sit on my lap.
Okay, all right. We're going to do it. We're going to go to is that a main? Hold on, I've missed a bit. We'll come back to all of that a bit later on. So Mrs. M is going to talk to you. So Sol, whilst I've got a gob full of toothpaste, I feel like I should have done something else there. Oh yeah, the weather report. Okay, just before we go to the toothpaste demo and try something Portuguese, which today will be Coto toothpaste. We have got a weather report for you, Mrs. M, which I think you'll approve of. Look, the rules of broadcasting, one person at a time, okay? We'll come back to you in just a minute, Solly. Although that's not always the case, is it? It's a nice day for a light sweater. It's a nice day for a cardigan.
I love cardigans.
Cardigans. Right, speak into the mic.
I
This
love
boy's causing...
cardigans.
You do love a cardigan.
Yeah, now...
Were you a fan of Billy Idol?
Is that actually Billy Idol or is it Spike from Buffy?
So.
I think it's
I don't know who Spike from Buffy is. I think it is Billy Idol.
James Masters.
Still don't know who you mean.
He's also a musician.
Still don't know who you mean.
Okay.
Spike. Sorry about that. So yeah, there's your weather report. It is a nice day for a light sweater over here in Portugal. Okay, let's get on with the sampling. Try something Portuguese today. Coto toothpaste. Thank you very much, James. Here it is.
Is it Coto?
Coto.
I don't know how you pronounce it.
Try something Portuguese tomorrow. How to pronounce this? Okay.
Did I hear you talking about gamifying?
I'm taking it out of the pack. Yes, our GMP VIP is gamifying, and Antonio has leveled up at level 4 and got himself a GMP VIP mug. Now, can we stop having distractions, please? I know I'm a fine one to talk, but I want to have this as a little bit of a snippet from the show. So here we go. Today's Try Something Portuguese is Coto toothpaste, notwithstanding a correct pronunciation. And now let's unbox it. It's like one of those unboxing videos, isn't it? And I'm going to go full screen, Mrs. M. No offense, but just so everyone can see the toothpaste. But you will be a voice off, okay? There it is. It's in a plastic tube. I thought this might be a sort of foil.
I thought it might have been in a sort of metal one. I feel a bit cheated by that.
I do, because it's old school, but it's plastic.
Beautiful old styling.
Yeah.
I think they've missed a trick there.
Well, I'm sure they used to do it in a metal tube. 60 grams worth.
May I smell it? As I look at that, I think it might smell a bit like germaline.
Or like an old gentleman. I think
an old gentleman. I hope it doesn't smell like an old gentleman.
No, an old gentleman on a good day. So you'll notice at the top here. Yes, my boy. What is it? It smells like glue. Well, I hope not. And I hope we haven't mistaken it for glue, because if we brush our teeth with glue, what might happen? It's going to be a very quiet house.
I can just finish off your show for you, can't I?
Okay, have you been waiting for this moment?
Yes,
you were in this seat last week when I was with a place in the sun. Did I mention that?
Nice drop.
Okay. At the end of I don't know if you can see, there's a spike in the end there. So it is looking like a DIY product and a glue tube. Yeah. So we undo it, and I wonder if there is a safety cap. There is. Look at that. Inside, you'll see a sealed for your safety and convenience if you're taking it a long haul or something like that. Can
that
you take?
Sounds so euphemistic.
Who doesn't like to take it long haul first thing in the morning, Mrs. M? So there we go, and some other instructions on the back. No, they are the. What do you think of this? Because I'm thinking it leans into the department of safe ingredients because it's without fluoride. So it's a toothpaste.
Has it got sodium lauryl sulfates in?
It has got aqua, which is its first. It's
I
mainly water.
I would imagine that.
Hydroxylatate glycerin. Oh, it's sounding terrible already, isn't it? Potassium chlorate. Let's go back to your homemade toothpaste, shall we? Because we did that on the show, didn't we? One morning.
Yes, and it was very popular.
Hydroxyth cellulose sodium C1218 acyl sulfate. Menta.
That's peppermint.
Pipenta. Menthol. Paraffinium liquidium. It's got paraffin in.
Yeah.
Just in case you need to light a stove with it. Anethol, sodium, saccharin, flavoring, presumably thymol, eugenol. So the eugenol is that smell you're thinking of, isn't it?
Yes.
And limonene. We're about to puncture it live on air before we taste it. Good or toothpaste, right? Did you want to do the smell of it now, Sol? Right, there you go. What do you think of that?
Smells so good.
Does smell fresh and good, doesn't it? Mrs. M, do you want to give that a sniff?
No? Yeah, I mean it smells expect how you might expect.
I missed my camera work wasn't so good. I missed you smelling it live on air. Okay, so there you go. I am about to put this toothpaste. Okay, I'm going about to put this toothpaste on my wooden eco-friendly toothbrush. Even the corporates are in on it though. It's a Colgate toothbrush.
It's got quite a good taste.
You've already tasted it. There you go. I've put some on there. I think I need to go full screen, don't I? Again, just so you can see what's going on. Never work with animals or children. Where are the kittens? We need them in here now, don't we? Just to add to this situation.
Yeah.
Look. Oh, I'm not getting the framing right. Let me turn that round. I'm not going to get the job, am I? As their.
No, you're not going to be a hand model or.
Right, and my shark tattoo, it might be the wrong sort of image for them as well. So we're going in. Some people like to put a bit of water on their toothbrush and toothpaste, don't they? I'm going to go in naked. All right. So here we go. You might want to commentate at this point, Miss.
Okay, so I love this. I'm hoping it might extend to his beard as well, so that gives that a bit of a freshen up. I do feel like a snog might be coming up at the end of this. How's that feeling?
A snog test. I can't give it a full 10 minutes.
Are you normally singing, aren't you, when you're
the YouTube show,
a toothpaste show?
Okay,
in Portugal,
now I need to rinse. Raquel's joined us as well, wondering what the hell's going on here. Why is that man foaming at the mouth who I'm speaking to in 6 minutes? Okay, I need to rinse like I'm at the dentist.
Yeah, he does. I don't know why Solly's saying there's a jellyfish. Where is the jellyfish? Oh, next door to GMP, it looks like there's a jellyfish.
Whoa, that is really spicy and hot.
So that's good. So
I'm tingling. My mouth is tingling.
My mouth is tingling a little bit. I have to say, it's got lovely packaging.
Way too much. That's why it's so damn hot. Then
whilst it's got its lovely branding, it's got a nice smell. Its taste isn't so bad. Okay. I really don't like all of these different ingredients.
No,
so I would absolutely go for one that's got more chalk based, like charcoal-y type
rather than
things.
all those scary chemicals.
I'd just make my own, to be fair.
Okay, I also brought PT toothpaste with me, Portuguese toothpaste, less expensive and a milder, less sweet taste than name brands.
Yeah,
mine is it is in a metal tube, says James,
yes.
And he says it's very minty with a capital VERY. it has made my gums tingle. And are we going to do the snog test?
Yeah, come on.
It has. I didn't brush my beard. Add some cold water. I think you need to come into this. Okay. Oh, what do you think? How's that?
That might have put people off their breakfast.
Did you get my full mintiness right there?
Yes, I did.
Do you want to try a little bit, Sol? No, he doesn't.
No.
Okay.
I think I should take this little guy off.
All right. So I only needed a pea size, and that was way too much. Owen agreed. Morning, Owen. Told you. No one likes that, James, but you're actually right on
told
this
you.
occasion. So I love it. I do like it. It's in a nice travel size. Are you allowed to take 60 grams of something on an airplane again? I don't know.
Don't think you are.
Is it 50 grams? Or it's 100, I think, isn't it? So maybe travel sized. Get a room, you two. I didn't do that whole thing just so that she would kiss me on the breakfast show.
No, it was actually me that mentioned that I wanted a kiss.
Because I think if we eat if we try a bacalhau risol next time, you're not probably going to want to kiss me after that, are you? So I have to choose. Maybe
not unless there's a little bit between your teeth that I might want to have a nibble on.
Oh, stop it!
I am quite partial to a bacalhau risol, definitely.
Right. Okay.
I do like those.
We're going to give a round of applause to Coto toothpaste, a great Portuguese brand. There it is. We tried it on the show. Okay, coming up soon. All right. Thank you, Mrs. M. Do you not want to plug your show later on?
No, because I'm not doing it.
Not on a Wednesday.
Although actually, no, I do have a special show tonight, so it's not the
Solomon.
Bedford broadcast.
Do you want to plug your show?
Have you got
your own live stream? Don't do that to Mummy. That's not funny. Is that for me? You're calling me a loser live on my own breakfast show. I can't start insulting the audience.
I don't think he's actually doing. I don't think he knows what a loser symbol is.
I hope not.
He's saying hello to Suze, by the way, because he can see that Suze is on the screen.
Oh, okay, very good.
He's reading. So for my show, I'm not.
He hasn't got the hang of this yet.
No, so tonight I'm not doing a barefoot broadcast today during the day, though I'm really enjoying that and it's going really well. And thank you to everybody who's been on and who's been commenting and whatnot. It's all great, loving it.
Yes.
But tonight I'm doing an astrology show, so I'm doing a round table. Stop it, Solly. I'm doing a round table with 3 other astrologers from around the world. So I've got a lovely astrologer from Canada who's joining me, one from Kentucky and one from the UK.
Wow.
And we're going to be talking about we're going to be doing some forecasts based on the eclipses that are taking place next month.
And I'm guessing Solomon is not joining you for that.
He's definitely not joining me.
Okay, all right.
But I'm looking forward to it. So if you would like a forecast for October from not just one astrologer, but 3 from around the world, 4, including me, then tune into Feel Good Astrology later on.
Tonight,
it's fantastic. At 8:00.
There you go. His L. Is that right, Sol? That your L was for love, light, and life. Is that right? Yes, it was. He's given us a nod. In the great tradition of broadcasting with children, would you like to say goodbye now to everybody? Works like a charm. Ciao. Thank you, Mrs. M.
See you later.
Very good. Sol and Mrs. M helping me with the toothpaste demo there. 1 minute to go until we have Raquel on. He's full of beans this morning, isn't he? Did you know how to... Hey, Sol, do you know how to make coffee? No. Mummy does, though, doesn't she? Maybe she could teach you.
I will do that for you.
Thank you, Mrs. M. Excellent stuff. Okay, we've done our weather report. We've done our Try Something Portuguese. Please send me more suggestions. That is over on GMP VIP. There were some fantastic suggestions. The alheira, the tortas de Guimarães, ovos molos, a pig's ear was one of the more interesting. And I will do it. I don't know where to source a lot of these things, but I will be trying pig's ear on the show one morning and parking on a roundabout. Try something Portuguese as well, which I'll have to do when I'm doing an outside broadcast one day. Okay, let's give her a nice big round of applause and bring her onto the screen. Hola, bon dia.
Hi.
Talk about love, light, and life. Here she is from the Lighthouse Consulting Organization. How are you?
Good. Tired, but good.
Tired, but good. I mean, that is the way, isn't it, of the parents of young children. We saw the energy there, didn't we, of the young child, and occasionally it gets the better of us.
Yeah. Well,
not only a busy mum, but running an incredible consultancy business, helping people start businesses here in Portugal, including me, Raquel, which I'm very grateful to you for. And it looks like you make your own homemade, I was going to say lemonade. I'm not sure. What is that behind you there?
This. Yeah. This is the water container. I guess. So
the kids can help.
I sometimes have crazy ideas. Okay, so I had read that the best water to drink is one that is like moved around, and there was like in the water sources and waterfalls and all of that.
Yeah.
And so this is my invention in a way that I put water over here, of course, and then I have all sorts of glass beads and stuff to make the water go round and round until the tap. I
Ah.
also have, I don't know how you call it, charcoal filter in there, like 2 or 3. And so I just pour regular tap water there. And when I serve myself, wow, I'm getting good at this, and water in this tap, the water makes all of these movements. And so by the end, it's in my glass, it has moved around and it's energized.
Yep, we're totally on the same page here, Mrs. M. We use a water filter, and I know there's a debate about this that ranges right from, do you have running water in Portugal? Is it safe to drink the tap water in Portugal?
I
Why
do.
do we drink so much bottled water in Portugal? There's a great big water debate and conversation, isn't there? But I think if you really want to honor your water, it's not a bad idea to filter if it's come through the municipal system, and put some life back into it. Because if you imagine the journey of water, from being in a reservoir through the filtration and sanitization system, or whatever they call it, sewage treatment, or the opposite thereof, and then it's sat in pipes for a long time, some old lead pipes, some
Yeah.
some questionable parts of the journey, you might say. And it's also been killed, hasn't it? It's had all the life taken out of it, and a
Yeah.
few maybe things hanging about in there, which our bodies can deal with, of course. However, if you want to take it to that sort of 5-star vitality level, I think it's a good idea to do exactly what you've done. Now, this is nothing to do with business, but while we're on this subject, what inspired you to do that? What had you heard that caused you to make this concoction and create
Exactly this, that the best water, the water that's better absorbed and gives you a higher level of hydration, is the one that is moved, because it would be like drinking directly from the source, from the waterfall, correct? And so for a while, what I did, and you'll find that there's a big, I mean, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a chemical, I'm not anything, okay? So take this with a pinch of salt, whatever you want. But what I started to do is on the blender, I just started to agitate the water in the blender.
Did you?
And you should do a test. I have a coffee machine, an espresso machine, not with the capsules, but where you put the coffee.
Yeah.
Just try to take one coffee out with regular water, and then with water that you've mixed in the blender.
Yeah.
You'll see a huge difference. I mean, the foam is like this big when
Really?
you use the water. Yeah. To
How
all non-believers, just do this simple test, because I have a non-believer at home, my husband, which is the worst. I mean, he always takes whatever I give him, but he always questions it. He never thinks that anything works. And so with this test, I mean, the difference is such a huge difference that I said, see, and besides, I really don't like the water in the plastic bottles. I can feel the plastic. It goes through all the heating in the trucks, and then in the supermarkets and all of that. So and first and foremost, it's the ecological side of things. So I use tap water, I filter it, and then I came up with this concoction to make it move around exactly before I drink it.
That's incredible. So you got a little waterfall simulator there
Yeah.
to put the chi, vitality, key, or whatever.
But do put the water through the blender.
Well,
and
that is a great test. Yeah, I think that's such a good idea, because you're aerating and enlivening the water, aren't you? And that's fascinating as well, isn't it? To think that people don't give it a second thought. There will be a coffee aficionado who's really fussy about their coffee, maybe even their sugar and their milk. But it's in that order, isn't it? Like, people are bothered about the quality of coffee. They might be less bothered about the quality and provenance of the milk, if they have milk. Less so about sugar, although there might be some who say, I must have a fine ground muscovado or something like that. But then no one gives an absolute toss about the water, do they? Because it's just water. And of course, James says safe is a very broad term for water. Is chlorine safe? Is bacteria safe? At what level are things no longer safe? And no one gets to answer that, really, do they? Some waterfalls in the USA contain animal excrement. So it's not just a
Of course they
waterfall.
do.
It's a pitfall as well as a waterfall, by the sound of it. I mean, how much are we talking about there? And we see it. You know, I imagine an advert for shampoo, and you know, a delightful maiden washing her long hair under a waterfall. Next thing you know, a yak stool comes flying down. Condition
There's
your
the
hair.
shampoo.
Putting the poo in shampoo. Yes. Oh dear. So yeah, big time unsafe. Agitated water also generates. Agitated people generate negative ions. I wonder, which increase positive emotions, positive energy water. This is good information. Lusa has a 1 litre glass bottle. That's great. And we do have some great water sources in Portugal for sure, don't we? Drinking and Monchique, I think that's a fantastic water. It's an alkaline water. We could do a whole program on this. It sounds like we are. Drinking from the water, I just lie back. I just lie on my back in my bath, turn on the taps, and open my mouth. It works for me every time, and I achieve full body hydration. Maybe I'm sensing a little bit of cynicism. The ancient mariner. Next time you're in Portugal, we'll try some water that we've whizzed in the blender, and we'll make a cup of coffee. Does it get rid of the scum as well? Because when I'm making tea. And I'm using filtered water or water from the kettle. I mean, this isn't necessarily dangerous. It's more aesthetic, but scale can leave a really unsightly scum on top of your tea, can't it? So lots to think about there. Lots to think about. And I know that in Portugal, I have noticed there's a lot of chlorine in the water treatment, isn't there? And that's not a very, as you go to take a sip, bloody hell, it's like being in a swimming pool. Anyway, thank you for that. Prompted by your marvelous invention there. Do you do a lot of these things around the house, Raquel?
Yeah. My mind doesn't stop, and I keep inventing things, and
yes,
I make and Louise was talking about making her own dental paste or toothpaste.
Yeah.
I do my own deodorant. I do my own to hydrate the skin. I usually only use like coconut oil, but I do my own solar filter, like what do you call that, the sun protection thing.
Sunscreen.
I do my own sunscreen because I started to do that with Emma, and now I do it as well with Alice, because just the thought of getting all of those chemicals in their skin wasn't I mean, I was not going to do that at all.
Yeah. When you stop,
so I started. Yeah.
Sorry, go on, carry on.
No, that's it. I mean, when we start to think about all the chemicals that we have in our bodies, from the detergents on the laundry that we use, on the sheets, on the pillows, and then in the shampoos, and then
Sorry, it's that time of year.
I had seen it actually. I was like, "There's a fly there."
This guy is not long for this world, but you'll hear him. I might fry him live on air. Now there I am, the eco hippie guy. He's brushing his teeth with homemade toothpaste, homemade sunscreen,
and killing flies,
and then zapping flies. Yeah, it doesn't quite add up, does it? But anyway, when you think about it, smearing on chemicals as you put it onto the body, which is our biggest organ of absorption, isn't it? And then going into the sun to accelerate and catalyze those chemicals, it makes a lot of sense. A mum might make her own sunscreen there. So charcoal, I don't think we'll have charcoal in our sunscreen. That might look a bit odd and be a bit uncomfortable to apply. It's a great filtration medium. They even use charcoal capsules in hospitals for detoxifying the digestive system, of course, and odoritors are made of charcoal. Haven't they got a charcoal filter? And yes, when people have bad wind, they give them charcoal tablets. In this house, charcoal is flushing the organs, and you can also run it through a bag of rusty nails to increase the iron. See, he is being very cynical.
You could do that.
He is being very naughty, I think. Okay. He gets lots of, he's a mariner. He gets lots of ionized air and atmosphere every day. The ozone, they call it, don't they, when you're down by the sea, and that's what tires you out. So thank you for all your contributions and for inspiring that little bit of the conversation. How is the world of business, Raquel?
It's good. It's good. It's going. Online and live. I want to thank you, Carl, for that shout out. And oh, there it goes. She's
Don't blame me.
winning.
No, he is
She's
winning.
winning,
Yeah,
Carl.
it's 30 love so far.
Yeah.
Enjoy your moment.
If she lands on your forehead, you have to. She's taking it home.
Do you know what? There are two in here now. Now what I fear most
Ah,
is they will
she,
soon be having sex on my forehead. This is what
she
this,
brought a team.
she brought a friend for sure. No,
Um,
please, if you can,
so
try and ignore me.
thank you for that article on Portugal residents. It's been going really well. I now have reached, thank God, a level of exposure in the business that I now need to start delegating stuff. So
Great.
yeah, now I'm starting like to delegate social media management, and I'm gonna start to build a newsletter and send a newsletter. Of course, I don't have any time to do it, but I do have the greatest partners to do that. So Vera, shout out to Vera as well. She's going to help me with that. And now I'm establishing cooperations and collaborations with a lot of people, which I think
Tremendous.
is the way to go. Is the collaboration method. I
Yeah.
really do believe that, because I believe that if you serve well, people will continue to come with me. And if I do reference a good service, then I'm serving that person anyway. So I think that's the way to go. So it's going really well.
So glad to hear that. That's wonderful news. Quite a lot I would like to respond to in that, and to have maybe a little bit of the clinic today. I mean, certainly, folks, if you're watching and you want to start a business, if you're biz curious here in Portugal, then certainly ask questions about how to go about doing that with Raquel here. I'm going to have to close WhatsApp and open it up again because there's something I want to share with you. Yesterday evening, as part of the Portugal Club that we do on a Tuesday night, we began, or we reopened the conversation about the Expat Angels, which is a working title, it has to be said. It might not be called that in the long term. But the idea, a long time ago, actually, was to look at helping young Portuguese entrepreneurs with, there are interesting things that, excuse me, that people find out when they come and work with Portuguese companies. It's a different way of doing business. And there's this great startup scene, and there are a lot of youngsters as well who want to do things a little bit differently. They're inspired, I think, by some of the American ideas of startup culture, and you see some very exciting things happening with that. So we thought some time ago that we would start this Expat Angels idea to bring together not only the capital and funding of some foreigners who are coming over who see some great ideas here and want to invest in those companies, but also the experience and acumen. If you imagine you've got a young Portuguese entrepreneur starting out in their career with some really exciting ideas, and then we've also got perhaps a retiree coming to Portugal who's been working in the corporate world or as an entrepreneur themselves. They're thinking they're going to retire, but those sorts of people, I think, never retire. They're like you. They can't switch their minds off, can they? They see things and they go, that could be done a bit differently. That's a really good commercial opportunity. There's a really good business. That person could do so much better if they just knew about that, which they don't necessarily, because they're young, they're idealistic, they're focused on their creativity, and they're not doing the nuts and bolts bits, which you're so good at. So we had a conversation last night, Expat Angels, helping young Portuguese entrepreneurs. We're up and running. Anybody who might be interested in that, just reach out and get in touch. And I'm hoping, Raquel, they will use your services, because this is the perhaps the harder part, isn't it? It's the pragmatic practicalities of running a business. Your entrepreneurs are all about, let's get excited about it. Let's go do pitches. And they haven't necessarily got their I's dotted and their T's crossed. Sorry, that was a really long spiel for Expat Angels. But what do you make of that and the scene here?
Exactly that. And I see, I mean, even like last week, I think it was a friend of mine, my greatest friend, actually. I just had a talk with him and his other partner, because they had some ideas on a company that they wanted to create. And we went through so many concepts and so many ideas, because there's a lot of, when you're a business owner, a lot of this you already know. But when you're starting out, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's not that it's rocket science, but sometimes it's very good to just have, like yesterday, I was explaining what the difference between an invoice, a receipt, and an invoice receipt, because these are three different documents and people have no clue. And of course they don't have any clue about what these documents are and what are the differences between them. And so to enable and to give these tools to people, and then they can do their own thing, but then they're armed with knowledge and tools to, to really know what they're doing and to make the better choices. So I think this is fundamental. I think a lot of people ask me, oh, I can open a company, my accountant probably can open a company, solicitor can open a company. That's all, of course, everybody can do. I mean, I can cook a meal. Is it going to be the best meal? No, because there's chefs that do that work much better than I do.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't pay to eat my food, but you will pay to eat their food. So it's similar. It's a question of service and a question of information and knowledge. And again, I always stress this, to have the best professionals by your side.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things, like not only the creating the companies, then okay, now you need insurances, and where the hell am I going to get insurance? Now maybe you can apply to EU grants. How do I go about this? And with what I try to do in my companies is really have a 360. So anybody that comes up to me, I know that I have all of these solutions that I can offer, that very few people have this 360 knowledge and openness to a business. So I think this is the added value that I try to bring to the table. It's not just creating a company. It's not just knowing the type of company. Is everything, is empower people with the best tools so they can thrive in their own businesses.
Well said. And wealthy people, successful business people know this, don't they? And I think it's especially the case. The reason I was delighted to write about you in the Portugal Resident is because I've had experiences of not using the best professionals or not using people at all. And it costs you in the end. It costs you money. It costs you in fines, potentially, because the government take a very dim view of you not meeting your responsibilities. Not complaining about that. That's just how it is. And then if you look at it from the other side of the equation, if you have employed and utilized good professionals, if the value they add, they will actually pay for, or their services will get paid for in your increased profitability if this is going well. That's a really good marker to bear in mind. And that said, it is a big leap to go from being a sort of one-man brand, self-employed person trying to do it all yourself, and having that stretch of bigger overheads and growing up into collaboration with people and working in a team-based way is a big stretch. But I can't think of any substitute for it, Raquel. You can't shrink your way to greatness. I think, one of these business gurus said, you can't cut corners with these things, can you? Because it will cost you in the end. I don't know a way around it.
No, and the way it's like a learning curve.
Yeah.
If it's too steep, it won't be steady. It won't have a solid foundation. So there's all of those sayings or business saying, you can go faster if you go alone, or you can go farther if you go with a team.
Yes,
there's all of that, and that is true. And and that is why I don't pretend to know that I know everything. No one does. What I do know is that whatever I do, and that's why I didn't want to specialize in a lot of things, because I don't think that's even possible. Yeah. But what I cannot deliver directly, I've found the greatest partners to do that. So I don't have to waste time like thinking about insurances or whatever, or thinking about EU grants, because now I have partners that can do that. And so this is, cada macaco no seu galho, as we say in Portugal, which is every monkey in its own tree.
Yes.
Everybody has their place, and I'm gonna do the best at what I know I'm the best at. But what I'm not, I find someone that can bring that knowledge and assistance to my client.
Yeah.
Collaboration is key.
Yep. And I heard a wonderful story yesterday about this is the possibility, I think, of a new business approach in Portugal. There is a culture all over the world, I think, of what you might call tax avoidance or gaming the system. And that is the general, no one likes paying tax to that. I mean, there's a few exceptions, aren't there, who can virtue signal around it. But ultimately, if you didn't have to, if we could structure society in a different way, we probably might. So leaving that to one side, it is a fact of life that you have to pay your taxes. And cultures emerge about that, don't they? Of like begrudging, avoidant types of mindsets. And I heard of an entrepreneur in this country who said, like, okay, enough of this. This I don't want to live my life with this avoidance mindset of gaming the system. I want to know exactly what I'm going to pay, what I expect to pay. I want to pay it, and I'm going to build it into my costs. And they did that, and they explained it, I believe, to their clients that this is our approach to taxation. We think it's good. We think it's the right thing to do. It's something we don't want to avoid or play games with. We're going to be transparent about it. And they have increased. I don't know. I can't remember if it was their turnover or their profit, but they had a plus over 25% increase. A positive increase in their business. Now, that's what's possible, isn't it? When you grasp these sorts of nettles, if you stop avoiding things, and I'm a fine one to talk because it's exactly how I've operated. I've avoided things. I've been incompetent. But if you can, with the help of other people, and this applies to all of life, doesn't it? It's not just business; it's everything. If you can address the truth of the situation and get help, and then kiss the frogs, take the medicine, whatever analogy you use, and follow those steps, you begin to know what you're doing, and you can build that in, can't you, to the cost, to how you operate, to how you are as a person, to how you are as a business. And these are the sorts of businesses and people we might see in the future if we do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that I like to point out is that I haven't met any expat that wanted to create a company or that's told me to my face, I do not want to pay taxes. Completely the opposite. Everybody that is coming here is being very adamant to the fact that I want to pull my weight, my own weight. I want to pay my taxes. I want to hire people and pay Social Security and pay what. So first of all, everybody that's coming here, I see that attitude, which is great. And second of all, I mean, I had a friend that was in the United States recently, and she said, man, I want to be here because we hardly pay any taxes. I mean, IRS, it's like 12 or 15 or whatever it is. And in Portugal, I feel like 45 or whatever. And, there's, and VAT is much less. Everything is much less. And I was like, yeah, that's all correct. That's all fine and dandy. But the amount of money that you have to put just for health insurance is absolutely absurd. And I always give my examples. I mean, I was taught in the public system school. My oldest was taught in the public system school. She's now in the 3rd year of chemical engineer, so she's not dumb. She's, she was great. I don't think I was hurt in any way for being in the Portuguese teaching system. Quite the contrary. It's much contrary to what people believe. The Portuguese teaching system is very, very demanding. When you put face-to-face private sector and international schooling, especially in the higher, like the high school demands, and the public system, there's no two way about it. And I keep talking to people that have schools, and they know this. So we have that. We have public health. I mean, I didn't pay anything to have my two younger children. I know that I'm safe. I know that I have all sorts of things and all sorts of social protections in place. So it's always a trade-off. And what I don't think is fair is, okay, now I'm here and I know that I can go to the hospital and be taken care of. and I know that I have all this and that, and then don't have in mind that that comes with the price of paying taxes. So, it's whatever system, either you pay less taxes and have less things, or you pay more taxes and have more things. I mean, you can't, it's like you said, there's no other way that civilization can be organized up until now, so.
We might continue to debate that, but I do take your point. Roughly speaking, I mean, yeah, that would appear to be the way of these Western liberal democracies, such as we have them at the moment, right? And you make a good case, don't you, comparing a very low tax scenario where there are a lot of costs elsewhere, with a system that we see in Portugal. It's a great conversation to be having, and pragmatically, if you want to get on here, I think you have to bite the bullet and engage in the system. Now, that on the one hand, that I take the same view as a lot of the clients you're talking about. However, I have been wearied by that process. Wanting to do the right thing is somewhat different to being able to do the right thing, because I've become quite frustrated and. Partly, and I have to say, partly because of my own incompetence and lack of skills in this department, but I have become quite despondent at times of wanting to. It's the worst part of my life here, and it's all relative, of course. It is the most challenging and difficult part of my life here, and I own that because I am responsible for that. I'm not blaming Portugal for that or the government, but it is the most challenging thing for me because of how I am and because of how it is as a combination. And that's where what we've been talking about, isn't it? Is like, so what do you do faced with the idea that you do want to be a responsibility meeting, a responsible tax-paying citizen running your business in the most elegant way and making shitloads of money as well? How do you go about doing that? And as you said, it's a bit overwhelming for some people. I think it's a bit overwhelming for most people, and you need a team approach. So we came up with the idea, didn't we, that this needs to be broken down for people like me, babies in this situation, into baby steps. So very kindly, Raquel, not only have you created a resource for us that is the beginner's guide to starting a business, all the information that people need, you have published, and now you're going a step further, I think, to help the kind of business for dummies, people like me who need it. Because I mean, it must be infuriating for you and accountants and people when they go, hold on a minute, am I having to explain to this person the difference between a receipt, an invoice, and a receipt invoice? It's like, yes, you are. Sorry, and and that might have come as a shock to you. But would you agree it's needed? The baby step breakdown is needed for people who are gifted, creative, and want to start a business, but are just going to get themselves into so much trouble if they don't get the basics right.
Absolutely. And I never want to, let's say, tarnish the minds of such creative people with mundane details. So because again, it's like, I don't necessarily have to know what creative people do and like copy and writing. I'm not the best at that. And those entrepreneurs, those people shouldn't be bothered with all of those details. What I do think is that they have to have people on their side. Yeah. They have to have people that can explain things. And I always say, if you can explain it to a 4-year-old, you know your business. Because when you don't know how to break things to a very simple state and form to explain to people, then you don't know what you're talking about. And I found that 70 to 80% of people do not have a clue what they're talking about in any organization, in any company, in any way, in any sorts of walks of life. People don't know what they're doing. Yes. And they never like to let people know that they really don't know what they're doing. So the best thing is ask questions, and ask very basic questions, because sometimes people are like, and you said, it's companies for dummies. No, it's not. It's not a question of being or a dummy or whatever. It's not. People are not incompetent. People have and today we have to know so much about so many things. We have so many, attention grabbers, points in our lives. We don't have to know everything about everything. I do think, and I do feel that we need to know the basics just to, navigate the system. And what I do really like is to bring stuff down to a very simple stage. Like, for instance, I was yesterday again with the client, and I was telling her, this is VAT, this is Social Security, this is IRS. And you have to know the difference between these three very well, because otherwise, and somebody had helped or had tried to help her in the past with, she had opened the activity and she was like, but then I saw retention, something for the VAT. And I was like, no, this is all mixed up in your head. These are concepts that are sometimes are very complicated, but they can be broken down to simpler things. You don't need to know every detail about this, but you do just need to know the mechanism. And once you know the mechanism, you'll have your accountant to talk to speak with, or you can have a consultant, a business professional by your side to get into more details. You don't need to know everything, but you do need to know the simpler things. And there's not a lot of people that can break down stuff into simpler pieces.
Well, thank goodness you're doing that. And I think that's part of the change in the business world generally. You could argue, couldn't you, that some professionals have obscured what they do so they stay in business. I don't think there's any need to do that, is there? I mean, not everyone's going to become a doctor just because doctors the better doctors tell people what they're doing, don't they? Rather than hide behind, don't worry, I've got a stethoscope and a white coat. You just need to trust everything I say. We're moving into a world now, aren't we, where professionals are, I think, credited, liked more, subscribed to, you are influencing people more when they come from that position of authenticity and professionalism, rather than playing those sort of old school games of like, this is my secret world and you can only have access to it if you pay me. There's no need for that anymore, is there? And I think it's especially so in business. So thank goodness you're doing that. I'm a delighted recipient of this kind of service, where it needs to be broken down to 4-year-old level, so that it can be understood, and so I can make progress. I mean, the thing is, I don't necessarily need to understand what a surgeon is doing inside my body. I just need to know when I need to turn up and how to prepare for it, and then how to deal with it afterwards, post surgery. It's that, isn't it? It's like, we're talking about systems here, aren't we? That's the great thing about these business concepts, is they are systematic. And if someone like you, Raquel, breaks it down for people and turns it into a form, literally or metaphorically, then that lets the business person have it as one less problem in their head, and they just open up the spreadsheet or enter the data into a form, and they can do weekly or monthly reporting instead of just having it there as a mess that they just don't want to deal with, that ultimately might bring them down. Because you've got to attend to these things. Raquel, thank you. A fantastic conversation this morning. Are you going to stay with us as we chat to Jackie as well this morning?
Sure.
Fantastic. Okay. Jackie is going to be joining us. Probably a few more comments as well to come in. Stephen is here. The Ancient Mariner is continuing, and T-Duck is here, adding to your suggestion there, that if you can't explain something to a first-year student, then you haven't really understood. Richard Feynman. I think those times are over, aren't they, where we're weaponizing information. We don't need to do that anymore. We've all got our little specialisms and specialized interests that we can focus on and live in a complementary world to each other rather than a competitive one necessarily. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. It is Jackie A, everybody. Good morning to you, Jackie.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, tudo bem. Como estás?
I'm good. I read your article. You're a poet.
There are two people who I esteem greatly, who happen to be the focus of recent Portugal. It looks like I just write about my mates, doesn't it, in the Portugal Resident, which I have to say is true to some extent. But you have to be a mate who's making an incredible impact on the world of expats, foreigners, and Portuguese society, which these two ladies who you see on the screen absolutely do. This is interesting, Jackie. Look, here I am looking at the article you mentioned.
Oh, God.
It's a familiar.
I'm wearing a different shirt.
Yes, let's spot the difference.
Crazy.
You don't look crazy at all. You look fabulous. It's on the Portugal Resident website at the moment. It will be in the paper on Friday. Look at her, cover star of Vision. And look at this. your fantastic portrait. This is like we can do it, isn't it?
I don't know. He asked me to pose like that. I think it's kind of corny, but okay.
I think it works. I think it works. And this was, of course, taken at a party on Friday, was it not? Where we
You
saw
brought
this.
the best donuts.
There
Oh
they
my
are.
God.
Is that the way to a woman's heart? I
You
wonder.
have to tell me where those donuts are from because they
I
were
can't-
amazing.
I cannot possibly disclose my source. Actually, I can, and I'm delighted and proud to. Sponsors of the San Martino de Porto triathlon last weekend. Can you believe it?
Wow.
It is yes.
Wow.
They must have had a meeting. The company is Atelier de Dos, the sweet studio, Atelier de Dos, which is above San Martino de Porto. You drive up and out of town through Alfezarão, and you're heading towards the interior. And in the middle of nowhere, really, there is this incredible cake, Fabrica de Borsch. They do all sorts of cakes, but they specialize in this beach speciality. I guess it may come from being close to the beach. Raquel, this is the great cake, isn't it, for when you're at the seaside, the bolo de Berlin?
Oh, that's fundamental.
But is that what we were eating? Is that
It was,
we
yeah.
call it donut?
You see, you're calling them donuts, and I think the origins of this are that it's the Bolo de Berlin because in the Second World War, when there were German operatives in Estoril, in the hotel there where Ian Fleming got his inspiration for James Bond. There are all these spies and people from different countries, and they wanted some home comfort. And for the Germans, they wanted their confectionery of a custard-filled donut. And typically, like the samosa, or I don't know, the Japanese. I know the Japanese took the idea from the Portuguese in there, but how the world of cuisine, these inspirations and influences work. The Portuguese picked it up and ran with it, as you can see here. Not only do we have a custard-filled donut, I think they've got about 12 varieties: Nutella, apple, chocolate, strawberry jam, caramel, all sorts of things going on there. And it occurred to me one day to just go in and say, uma de cada, one of each in a box. Then I went, gosh, de cada. Let's go another level. And this is what you end up with. If you ask for two of each kind, you end up with a massive box full of diabetes-inducing confectionery. So yeah, go steady on them. But they are very good. You can attest to that, can't you, Jackie?
You know what? They were so good. And I love sugar and I love filling. They didn't even need the filling.
You're right.
Those donuts could stand on their own. They don't need anything. They were so amazing.
Yeah. But you can imagine,
Best donut I've had.
That's amazing. Best donut you've had. You can imagine being on a Portuguese beach in the summer. And you're enjoying yourself, the sea, the sun, and you start to feel a bit peckish. And along comes somebody selling those. And the great thing about them is I think they're covered in sugar because you can't tell if it's sand or sugar when you're eating them, like you can if it's a sandwich. So well done, Atelier de Dos. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And of course, congratulations to another amazing woman, 3 amazing women on the screen. Gilda Pereira, 9-year birthday, wasn't it? And the new offices.
They're beautiful.
We weren't actually in the jungle there, were we? We were in the offices of EI, not far from Marquês de Pombal. It was a great party, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the office was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, they had beautiful meeting rooms. Each space was very well thought out.
Yeah.
And for every department, and I didn't realize how many departments they have. They have Casa Portuguesa, they have the corporate department, they have, I guess, the individuals when they're doing individuals. I mean, they must have 3 or 4 departments right in that suite of offices.
Yes.
So it was really it was beautiful and it was impressive. And she's very young, and that's her second office.
Yes. Yeah. The company's 9 years.
A lot.
You must have started the company when she was 12, right? I'm trying to do the math on this. Gilda there, who you'll see with me on the screen tomorrow night, Queen of the Visas, and a lot of love for Gilda here in our audience, because of course her and her company have helped people move to Portugal. And the other thing to say about her from the conversation you and I were having, Raquel, is she's been through it. Gilda has really run the gauntlet of running a business in Portugal. And it's not all been donuts and posh premises. She's really, been through ups and downs, and we've been through it with her to some extent of how it's been to run a company. 20 employees. That's not an easy enterprise to be presiding over, is it? Managing the immigration inward and outward, migration in and out of Portugal of hundreds, if not thousands of people. Must be thousands of people by now. And she is certainly someone who knows the ups and downs of running a business. And what has she done? She's got a team, and I think she's kept going. So there are like three things, aren't there? Is like keep going, find out what the problems are, face them, get a team, and I don't know what the third one is. There was I mean, get a team and work with professionals outside your own team. Be in the flow of great people and keep going and have that spirit, that indomitable spirit, which I think you need as an entrepreneur, right, Raquel?
Oh yeah, for sure. You need that. You need to constantly be open to learn, open to see other examples, open to see, even if the business is not the same, there's always lessons that you can take. I mean, always direction, always things that you can see, like marketing and HR and team building and all of that stuff. Keep your eyes open, keep learning.
Yep, and she does that. So congratulations, Gilda, on 9 years on your fabulous new office. We've got a question that's come in, and we'll take I said we'll take jokes. We will take jokes. Are you going to show my Wiccan joke, or did I miss it the other day? I found it now, and I will show that, Suze. And anything else that people send me on 9135, well, not anything, but most things on 9135903303. We'll take questions on life in Portugal as an American. That's Jackie, of course. And any questions about expats Portugal and the service they can provide for you. And, of course, any questions on running a business. Here's one. Is it absolutely necessary to be incorporated in Portugal if you want to do business in Portugal, or are other jurisdictions, regulatory environments perhaps more suitable, perhaps with a local sub? It's a great question. He seems to know what he's talking about there, Raquel.
Yeah. Well, what you have to think about is where you're executing that activity from. Because even if you think, I'm going to start my own company in Malta.
Don't mind me. Don't mind.
I think she won again. I'm going to incorporate my business in Malta or whatever, that I can pay less taxes, and I'll just do my activity remotely from Portugal. Beware, because the Portuguese government may end up having indications that you're actually providing that service from Portugal. So there's a connection to the Portuguese jurisdiction. So it's not, and I hear people and I see people that, I have an American company, I'm providing my service to American people. Okay, but where are you? You're here in Portugal. If you're providing that service here in Portugal, then there's a connection to the Portuguese jurisdiction. And so there is the risk that the government is going to ask you, look, you're providing that service from here, so you have to pay taxes out of the income that you get out of that activity. So and I really don't think that Portugal is a very complicated jurisdictional environment to create your business. I think there are, like, even for incorporating a business, it's not the Simplex government. The Simplex program has simplified a lot of procedures. So I think in terms of public administration, we are very well. Not all countries have all of the things that we have, like the digital signature and all of that. We've come a long way. We are very ahead in terms of schemes and availabilities to provide a better service for the taxpayers. So it may come down to tax issues. And if it does come down to tax issues, of course, there are a lot of jurisdictions that are much better than Portugal. But the question is, if you're providing your activity from here, you may as well try to escape, but the government can tie you down here because you're providing that service here. So just be mindful of that issue.
On that basis, Raquel, is it better then to bite the bullet, as it were, and say, let's just set up here? Because if you get into a tussle with the government in 5 years' time and they say, actually, we think you owe us tax from all, you say you're based elsewhere for the last 5 years, but actually it's clear that you've been operating here. We are making a claim on you. You could avoid that, couldn't you, if you just went with it in the first place?
Well, go with the truth. Go with the truth.
There's the
If
thing.
you are here, if you are providing a service here,
Yes.
go with the truth. Nobody can attack you with the truth. This is something that my guru in the finance corporate compliance, Dr. Lavareda, taught me. If you go with the truth, nobody can attack you. I mean, you can have a different opinion, you can have a different point of view, but if you act with the truth, you know that you're acting in good faith and nobody can attack you. So if you do know that you're providing a service here, why the hell are you creating a company in Malta or whatever? Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. You're just doing that to evade taxes. So go with the truth. Just own what you're doing. Be true to yourself. Be true to the government. Be true to yourself.
Oh, Raquel, I think you must have been a very interesting employee in the corporate world, a colleague.
Yeah, really.
Imagine in a meeting,
Go with the truth.
there's 20 people sat around a table figuring out what to do about this thing. What should we do? People are getting angry. People are getting frustrated. And then one person says, "Hey, everyone, why don't we go with the truth here?" And like,
I was always so inconvenient.
what?
That's why I had to leave.
Yeah, what's she doing in here?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great advice in life as well, isn't it? It really is. And it might not be convenient, as you say. It might not be it might be painful, but ultimately it's going to be the best approach. We know this, don't we, ultimately, as human beings? Okay, to put it another way, the key to success is scalability. If your business concept will work in Portugal, why limit yourself to Portugal? Well, there's nothing to stop you growing out of Portugal, having been based there. The Portuguese government say, you're not allowed to operate anywhere else. We've got you now. You go where you want.
No. Quite the contrary. There are inclusively EU grants available for the international presence of Portuguese companies. So no, not at all. Do scale, do grow. Especially in Europe, there's even grants to help you do that. So no. Do not limit yourself to Portugal, but do create your base here if you are here.
Yeah, if you live here and enjoy the benefits, then not paying your share of taxes is cheating. T-Duck laying it out straight there as well. And I remember being part of the conversations at Expats Portugal about incorporating in Portugal, and we came to that view. It's right to be a Portuguese company, and it looks a bit off and odd, doesn't it? When you get the sense, for whatever the reason is, if a company on their note paper, their invoices are based elsewhere, it's not quite. It doesn't have the same sense of commitment and authenticity as it does when you've got an LDA or a company based here in Portugal. Any view on that, Jackie?
You know something, it's really interesting that you're mentioning all this right now, because I have a consultation, which is one of the things I do, with a woman who's from the US moving to Madeira. And I think she needs to talk to you, because that's one of the big questions she's having. She is a therapist, but her clients, she's based in Portugal, but her clients are in the US. And she's trying to figure all of this out now as well. Mm-hmm. So I think you're raising some really great questions and giving some important answers, because that's a tough one. Your clients are there, but you're here. So where are you paying taxes?
Yeah.
And
Raquel might need to be in that business directory of Expats Portugal, Jackie.
Yeah, let's have a conversation.
Okay.
But, so this is particularly, I mean, I feel lucky that Expats Portugal is a Portuguese company. Yeah. Problem solved. Yeah. So I'm paying taxes in Portugal.
Yeah.
You know, but then I realized next year I start paying my Social Security taxes. I have to pay them, as Carl and I think I was talking to you about this, for 15 years, I believe, until I'm eligible for that Social Security. By then I'll probably be dead, so I'm never going to see that.
On the bright side, though, no. When you get your first payout, well, let's go here, shall we, and go and get a big box of donuts to celebrate. It's a date, okay? I will take you there 15 years. Like in 15 years' time, we'll have a massive box of donuts together, because I imagine we won't be too bothered about worrying about how much sugar we're eating in 50. Or maybe they'll have come up with a different kind of sugar with none of the harming benefits in 15 years' time. So let's think positive, Jackie, with that.
Hopefully I'll get my Social Security.
Let's scrub what you said there. And yes, we'll go and eat donuts together in 15 years' time. Superb stuff. Talking of Expats Portugal, we are moving personal belongings to Portugal. Well, we're not, are we? But we are talking to people who can do that tomorrow evening.
This is okay, as a person who's done everything wrong, okay, because I did everything wrong. One of the things that I think is really a couple of points that I think are most important is what I did wrong was I hired my movers from the US. So they're based in the US.
Yeah.
And then they subcontracted to somebody in Portugal. I will tell you that's the worst way to do it. Because one of the most important things in Portugal are relationships. So the company that we're using, Global International GIR.
Global International Relocation, yeah.
Relocation. I want to
Yep.
say removalist, but I knew it was relocation.
It does get said. It does get said, yeah.
And so one of the things that they have are those relationships. And that's the same thing. So let's say you're having a problem when your things enter this country. They know the players. They know who to talk to. They know how to deal with that. And one of the things you learn, it's true everywhere in business across the world, but it seems to be more true in Portugal. You're using different companies because of the relationships they've built.
Mm-hmm.
And having people with those relationships immediately solves problems, potential problems. So I think that's one really important thing to say. Make sure it doesn't matter where they're coming from, because that's not where your problems are going to be. It's going to be where they land.
Yeah.
So these are some things to think about. The other thing I never thought about in moving was, for instance, I threw everything in a cardboard box. I didn't think about anything. But for people that have things that they truly value, what you want is a company that can build crates and build them well.
Yeah.
And I saw how much expertise went into building a crate. And I thought, wow, that would have saved us a lot of heartache for the way we packed our things. To have actually invested in a crate.
You're seeing them in your living room, aren't you? Or on the front drive. And it's like, well, okay, it's a wooden box. That's all it needs to be. But then if you imagine what it goes through on a container ship, inside a metal box on the high seas. I mean, if you ever watch any of those videos, your stuff needs some proper wrapping up.
It's going. So those are some of the things and I think they're the number one company. And so I think they're number one for a reason. And I think they're going to have a lot of good information. If this is something you're thinking about, I think tomorrow's webinar is going to be an important one.
Yep. Okay. And we'll have some fun. I always have if Luis is joining us, it's always great talking to him. You might remember him from the morning show. Great lad. And of course, then thereafter at 9 o'clock, we'll be in the company of this lady and maybe some of her team.
Just an aside, you know that Gilda's company is all female.
Yeah,
that was never intentional.
Remarkable. They, I mean, of all the awards they could possibly win, they may well be the most glamorous company in Portugal, if not the world.
Oh my gosh, they were so cute, those girls, dancing and partying it up at the party.
Yeah, it was an amazing.
And I said, I don't see any male employees. And the few men that were at the party, you're included, they all seemed to huddle together.
Yeah,
like for protection.
It was slightly terrifying as well. She won't have men in the team.
Really? No.
Before I get her into any trouble, there is no discrimination. It's just that any men who go to work there just can't cope.
No, that's not true either. I just think it just happened to work out that way.
There is something about. I used to be a school caretaker, and I worked with an entirely female team. And I was like, token guy, and I wasn't educational stuff, academic stuff, so it was slightly different. But it is that obviously there are particular kinds of atmospheres where a particular gender dominates. I think, and I think it's perhaps I will say diplomatically, it's the best of all worlds that she runs a tight ship of only women there, and clearly the results speak for themselves. She gets the job done without any men being involved in the process.
Nobody's mansplaining anything in that place.
Yeah, exactly. You save so much time, don't you?
Yeah, and you know what? Those women, and I think it's a female thing, are incredibly resourceful.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a problem, they're going to figure out 15 ways to solve it.
Yeah. While a guy is still telling everyone how it should be done.
That's a really good point.
So sexy.
Actually, I have 3 adult children all getting visas and different types of visas. So I'm getting more and more familiar with how they work.
Brilliant.
And I'm very impressed. I'm like, wow, they come up with some arcane, really, it's something I've looked online to solve a problem. Nothing you could figure out. And
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but it was very creative thinking.
She is. That is what happens, and you'll see it live if you join us tomorrow at 9. I'm thinking, okay, what Gilda's probably going to say, because I've worked with her a lot. She's probably going to say D7, do it this way, and then she'll come up with some, out of left field idea that she knows from her vast experience. So join us tomorrow night. So the moving episode webinar at 7:30, and then the Dream Team at 9 o'clock. We're coming to a close here. I hear coffee being made and breakfast being made. It's making me quite hungry now. So I'm going to go and do that in just a moment, but not until we found out what the difference is between a receipt and invoice and a receipt invoice. Please, Raquel, can you tell us briefly?
Yes. So it comes to different points in time. So an invoice is, I call it a request for payment. Okay. So you shouldn't ever receive a payment without someone issuing an invoice, because in terms of accountancy, that's like the request for payment. And so then the government can link that request for payment with that payment and know that that was the paid for that service. Then on the other side, if you want to, there's the receipt. You've issued an invoice. Meanwhile, 30 days, 8 days, whatever it was, from then you receive the payment. So then you have to let your client know, okay, you're acquitted, you've paid what you're due, that's fine. That's called the receipt, okay? So 2 points in time. There is like a halfway, I call it there is one document that ties both moments at the same time, which is the invoice receipt. And this is when you've received the money before even issuing an invoice. So when you are issuing an invoice, you're already saying that you've received the money right away, or that you've received the money at the same time that you're issuing an invoice. Yeah. And so that document joins the 2 moments together, joins the request for payment and the receipt of payment. But these are 3 different types of documents.
Wonderful.
That's well said.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, you have a beautiful woman in your background. Look. Turn around.
It's like being in the EI offices. It's a fattura recibo, I think it's known as, isn't it? The combination.
Yeah.
The hybrid.
Wait, can I give a shout out to your article? You really wrote a great article, Carl. That was a great article, and it was interesting. And you talk about cultural differences, and you really just a kind of an idea I threw out. You really expanded on it in a really meaningful way. So
well, that's what I love to do.
Great article.
You have a great story to tell. People can see it over at the Portugal Resident, and it begins like this. I mean, that's what I love about it is what you put to me. Are the Portuguese a positive people? Well, yes, of course, but maybe not as we know it. The Portuguese paradox of positivity. That's what we're talking about over there. Even if I say so myself, it is a good read. So thank you very much. You
did a great job with that one.
Well, anyway. I really enjoyed it. Jackie, see you tomorrow evening. You take care. Off into life in Cascais. Both of you, right? Over the neighbours almost in Cascais there.
Raquel, do you live in Cascais?
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's plan a coffee.
I'll leave you tears to it, and we'll see.
Oh, I hate that. She's young. She can't be at the end anyway.
Of course I am.
See ya. Ciao for now. Thank you so much. Muito obrigado. Bye, everybody. Bye for now.
Bom dia, Portugal. In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.